Okay, we'll call the meeting in order. I need a motion to approve the remote participation. Bill? Bud? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Linda? Bill? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay. Bills. 005 highway. 005 highway hand-drawings. $253,569.88. 006 special tax match. $462,046.34. 007 county bridge. $80,912.26. 017 county MFT. $6,688,413.58. 917 township MFT. $1,304,464.29. 919 TBP. $59,343.48. $2,848,749.83. I need a motion to approve the bills.
Before, I'd like to go to discuss one. So that bill for deconstruction is in the,
Yes.
for the patch of the asphalt on Dayton Road, 31st Road. I think we need to discuss it before we pay them on it.
Going through the project. The project was let July 20th of 21. Shortly after the project was let, we awarded them. Of course, the contractor calls in for a jewelry request. Goes out and does a jewelry request. There's a gas main out underneath Dayton Road, which NICOR didn't even know where their gas main was at, let alone know it was underneath our road. Then once it's out on the road, we ask them what depth their gas main is at. They do not know what depth their gas main is at. So we had to go out and pothole Dayton Road, dig down through the asphalt, get down, locate their gas main for them. To tell them, oh, by the way, it's in conflict with a new box culvert. So they got to relocate their gas main. And then they drug their feet. I had to reach out to their liaison who works with local agencies, projects, to help him get a hold of them to start moving the project along and getting a design to us to approve it and get it go forward. Well, the gas main finally got relocated early this year. So at that point, the project could start this spring. So the box culvert finally got built this spring, completed here in July. So basically 2 years after it was let, the box culvert was finally completed. With that, yes, we had intentions of, when we did that set of plans, it was as a patch. With intentions of resurfacing project that we let 6 months later to resurface all Dayton Road, we'd resurface over top of that patch. Thus, we had a nice smooth ride through the whole area. Well, with the gas main delay in the thing, we didn't know we were resurfacing the rest of Dayton Road, because as we withhold up projects, at that point we owed contractors escalation of cost to what over the delay of the project. So we let the resurfacing go ahead. So knowing that amount of tonnage that was in that contract to resurface over that patch was deducted from that resurfacing contract. Now at the completion of this, the box culvert, we know we still got plans to go back through and resurface over the patch. The patch doesn't ride the best. Steve's got concerns about the ride of the patch, but we took our own, we got plans to go out there and we let a contract to go out and resurface over top the patch. It could be done yet this fall. It might be done next spring, depends on how our funds work out yet as far as what we have available to expend in highway that this year to get that done this year. If we do, we will do it. They're worried about that. And then I made a decision not to have D go through and grind it smooth, which could just ground it smooth, because it's still just a patch. It would look terrible, but it would be a patch, but it would be smooth. But I decided not to do that because ultimately the county owes D construction escalation of cost on the project due to the project being delayed for basically almost 2 years. So as a balance and trade between grinding the patch and escalation of cost, we just called it even and walked away from it. And Steve's got concerns about paying for him for the work because the patch rides rough.
What would it have been to grind the patch?
Just to go through and grind the areas. It's just mobilization of the machine that much in a morning, whatever, and it'd probably cost the contractor $5,000.
The contractor, not us.
Not him, but then we would have to pay them escalation of costs of the project.
And what do you estimate that to be?
Yeah, I'm estimating for that time frame, because you guys COVID hit right in there. The prices escalated for his concrete and all those materials went up a lot higher than what it would at the time to bid. I'm looking at probably about 15% increase in cost,
Which would equate to,
which would equate to a $300,000 box. At that point, you're looking at about $45,000.
okay.
So I'm looking at
He would have just took the $5,000 to grind the patch and call it even?
well, he could grind the patch, because he didn't with escalation of cost. His trade was, don't make me mobilize and bring a grinder out here, grind the patch. I won't charge you the escalation of costs.
So the way I looked at it is, so we had talked about that piece of road being open around July 4th. And so I went up there on the July 4th and was not close to being ready because it had shoulders to be done and the patch had to be done. That gravel looked beautiful between there. All they had to do is put a flat surface on it and it would have been fantastic. So they had a perfect side. The road on both sides was perfect. They just had to send a competent person up there to operate the piece of equipment instead of something that's rounded. And as cars now are crossing that bridge, you can see the vehicle lift up in the middle of a turn and then settle back down. I don't think that's a good safety issue if it's going to be 6 to 7 months before it gets repaired with the so I look at it, I understand the offset on the cost, and I'm okay if everybody else is on accepting that, but I don't think anybody should ever pay for shoddy workmanship. And I have dealt with workmanship issues over the years. You take care of the problem. If you want to stay in business, you better take care of the problem. So in the future, if there's a patch being done from deconstruction, even if they were low bid, they'd have to be extremely low for me to vote for it. If that's their attitude on shoddy workmanship. So I just wanted my opportunity to put that in.
And what did you say about liability? Did you say something about liability possibly?
I can imagine that because of the shift of the weight that you see on vehicles going both directions, they're losing on the pavement. They're losing rubber, and if it's the January, February, and you've got a slick.
Yeah.
I know the first time I drove through that, I felt that I was going to be out in the middle of the cornfield, and I might have been going a little fast. But
But people do drive fast,
So
so you have to take that into consideration.
that's my concern.
Now, is that something we can go back and get fixed then? Do you think any earlier than?
Well, I have to go back through and evaluate Brian's budget as 05 and see what funds we got and surface and shoulders and see if we can still make it work this year, which I was already thinking about getting it done and possibly have it to a letting next month and go forward from there. It might just be not the 2 lifts, it might just be the 1 lift just to make it smooth and then come back next year, do another lift on it again.
Is this east or west of the bridge?
That's right, that's basically east of PetSmart.
Oh, okay.
By the golf course.
So what happened between the absolutely smooth, perfect gravel and the coating on the top? I mean, how can you go from something that's perfect and then mess it up so badly?
This bad day basically comes down to sometimes people try doing their best jobs, but it doesn't come out perfect. And as you're dropping a paver in a hole and starting off a header and climbing out the other side, it's tough to keep that paver smooth rock. And
That's what we have union people for, and it's
union
always,
people,
always talked about
you
on
talk
the
about-
news that if
And-
you hire union people, you are given the best job you can. And it doesn't appear, or it doesn't sound like we are.
Well, the thing is, things happen, but it's the final inspection. Who did the final inspection to say, you know what, this is inadequate? And that's the question. If you're saying it poses a safety danger, a safety situation, then that is where I would have said, somebody should have said, whoever is checking that, their supervisor, to go back and say, it's not the quality I would expect. I don't know if they have somebody that follows up from deconstruction. a
Well,
supervisor.
he admits it's not.
He admits,
He admits it's not perfect, yes. And that's the reason why he's willing to take, even though a loss to him, by not charging the escalation of cost.
do all our contracts have this escalation of cost involved?
It will if you don't get the project done in a timely fashion, yes. It's part of the spec book that we reference to use that IDOT uses.
And
And
there's
it's part
a
of it. in it.
significant time difference there too. It's
Yes.
not like it's a 30-day or 15-day deal. It was significant.
Mhm.
And I get that. It's just, I'm shocked that in lieu of 45 grand, they would have did that for an exchange of 5 grand, right? I mean, I would have just said, let's get it done, personally, but they were willing to give up 45 grand to save the 5, not do the 5. Something doesn't,
Well, it's good, that's good, because he does have that. He understands it wasn't shoddy work, so it's what he's doing. He's giving the county a break.
negative reflection of him though.
I would say that in any time that you've got a job, a workmanship issue on a job, like Luann was saying, how do you look at it? Was it an equipment issue? Was it a training issue? Was it a supervising issue? You deal with it so that you can make sure that it doesn't happen again. And I don't think in this situation they did that. Has the project been signed off from LaSalle County?
I think the pay estimate's in there to pay him in full.
So supervisors, they signed off on it.
Well, because we had plans of going through and resurfacing the patch. It still does a patch.
I would feel better if there was a legal contract that said, we will grind the surface for $5,000 and waive the $45,000 as escalation.
Yeah, that's.
No, they won't grind it and then waive the $45,000. We'll pay the $45,000 to get them up there to grind it.
And don't send the guy to grind it that paved it.
If you guys want me to tell them to go and grind it, we'll go and grind it. And at that point, we will be owing them escalation of costs.
Do they have to be the ones that grind it, or are we able to?
No, it's them.
It is on them.
It's them. They're
Even
working
if we could find another company who would do it to our specifications and
well,
pay them less or the same amount of money.
I mean, now it's gonna cost us 40 grand basically. So if we found somebody for 20 grand,
Yeah.
we're ahead.
Who would do it the right way.
And none of us are in the middle of the lawsuit next year because somebody careened into the field.
When you're saying it's a safety issue like that, that's concerning. If it, I haven't seen it, so I'm going by what you're saying, but if you're saying it's a safety issue, that's the concern. There's no amount of money that, when we're talking 20 grand, I would spend that to, get us out of something like that.
So basically you want me to tell the contractor to go out there and grind it smooth. And then we'll pay him as escalation of cost.
I'm saying I would get a couple of bids from someone else.
I would say maybe not pay them this month and we discuss it next month.
Put it this way, we've got a good partnership with them, right? They do a lot of work with us.
Wow.
And I don't think they'd want to, I don't think
He'll
they'd want
grind the
this.
passion, at that point we'll pay him escalation of cost.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know that they'd want this
You're
discussion.
talking for deconstruction.
I'm talking about destruction. No, I'm talking
Which
about,
I think is incorrect.
no,
Let's get somebody from deconstruction here at the table to say that, because I agree with Ray. They do a lot of business with LaSalle County and the townships.
A good partner wouldn't even want this conversation happening.
I'm with you.
I mean, we're, public right now, right? And they've done good work for us. This is not a reflection of the majority of their work. They wouldn't want to hear this discussion. They'd want to say, I want to take care of you, I would think. That's
And
my
find a
thought.
better compromise.
Have you had this conversation to the point of, for sure, they're gonna charge you 45 if they come back?
well,
Without
it's
doubt.
escalation of cost, yes.
And who else do we work with that would go back and grind it?
Well, any other contractor would be in the same situation, would be doing the same thing. They'd be asking for the escalation of cost. And at that point, they'd go out and grind it, but they'd still be asking for their escalation of
I'm
cost.
saying today, if we just say, we just need you to do this job for us, to grind it for us, just so it's smooth.
Yeah, we could pay someone else to do it, but it's gonna come out of county funds,
How much do you think that would be to grind it? 5 grand?
probably about $5,000, yeah.
So then we're out of the escalation costs. If we have somebody else come in and fix it, and then we say, hey, Dee, we had to have somebody fix your work.
Yeah,
that'll be
but at that
taken
point, you're still paying,
You gotta knock.
Yeah.
you're still paying D, you're still paying D in full.
Yeah.
And at that point, if I do the other contracts, I don't have to even pay the grinding costs. Because the whole point of that, because that stretch of road still has not been totally paved yet. It doesn't have its permanent payment structure through that stretch. It's just not over that patch area. We skipped an area of like 900 feet. So we got 900 foot to lay asphalt still in. The patch is only like about 50 feet long.
I'm just concerned about the safety issue right now that you're addressing.
It's in the middle of a curve.
So at that point, if we go through and let a contract do one lift, get this fall, possibly two, depending on how the money falls, and go up there and pave that road this year. Well, at that point, I don't have to pay another contractor to come in and put a grind on the patch. Because part of the thing was when we were resurfacing was we were already planning on grinding it and then laying a level binder and then laying a surface course over the top.
But
of
we
it.
weren't sure if that was gonna happen this year or next.
Well, if I do the one lift, probably definitely could happen this year. The two is questionable whether or not I can fit in 05 budget this year.
And the one will fix the issue he's talking about?
Well, one lift would, because we go out there and get a milliner in the middle thing, and they're perfectly, so it's smooth through there, and we lay one lift asphalt through there. But then again, we still have two other headers outside there, which is still not gonna ride perfect, because we still got two temporary headers outside the job limits. That's the whole thing is you got a whole series of headers you're bouncing through, not just the patch. So you're already moving, cars are already moving a little before that, before they get to the patch.
Should we be doing signage or something that says, something to slow down or caution or something just to protect us that way?
Rough road, there's enough.
Or speed limit.
You know what, it's
Well,
Illinois Powers. They're the ones that caused all this, right? They're the ones that didn't, or I'm assuming it's Illinois Power, the gas line,
Nicor.
Nicor, okay.
Well, they're the ones that caused us to be in this predicament, yes. As far as trying to recover our damages from their delay is, how much do you got in attorney fees?
I was
to
gonna
start
say,
paying?
it's not gonna be worth it.
Because you're gonna be in courts for many years and you still won't get anywhere.
Yeah, that's not gonna be worth it.
So at that point, the funds that you're gonna, spend more than what you ever gonna potentially try to recover out of it. IDOT has the same issues on their projects. And they got multi-million-dollar projects being delayed by utilities, relocating.
You know,
And they pay escalation costs on those contracts. And you don't want to see that escalation costs on those contracts.
we're talking $5,000. I'm so proud of so many of our county roads. For $5,000, this isn't really even worthy of a discussion. It's like, if there's a safety issue, I'd fix it.
Take care of
I
it.
mean, whatever it costs, if somebody's life or something happens like that, you know, for $5,000, we're talking $5,000. I mean, for all the money we spend on roads, and our roads are beautiful. I'm so proud of the county roads. So if this is not a good reflection, and honestly though, deconstruction, you're saying they're aware of it, but they should understand really how concerning it is. It created a safety situation, not just, you know, an appearance situation.
Yes.
It's not cosmetic only. It sounds like it's a safety issue. So, and Don, I don't know if you agree with Steve that it is a safety issue or not. What's your thoughts on that?
I drove it. I didn't have a problem. I drove it 10 miles an hour with speed limit and didn't feel like I was being unsafe driving and hit it. I even had Brian drive through with his 2/4 ton truck that's different than what the Tahoe is. And he said they didn't have a problem going through it. Yeah, is it smooth as butter? No. Do I see it as a safety concern? No. But safety is always someone else's opinion.
Yeah.
And do I think someone will lose control of it over the winter due to what it is? No. But like I said, we can go through and put a contract together to do one lift. I know for sure we can fit that in 05. We might be able to fit the 2 lift in 05, but kind of need to know that'd be like for next month, letting go that way, because it's going to be more than $30,000. I can't just take it off the quotes.
Well, what are we thinking?
So are we gonna hold off from paying them this month?
That's your decision.
You know, we already signed the bills.
Well, you can turn around.
Here's the deal. It sounds like, honestly, you've had that conversation already, and I don't want to put you in a position, right? You've already had, you know, whether you want to call it gentleman's agreement or just to say, hey, you know, we're going to follow this in our partnership. We don't want to hurt the long-term partnership either. If we're not going to have them go back and fix it, what's it, just to aggravate them is not, you know, what we want to do, I don't think. If we are going to hold them accountable for it, then it's different. I don't want to ruin the relationship that we've got with them either. In the course of everything they do, which they do a lot of work for us, right? It's kind of a small thing. Yeah, there's one screw up, but there was an agreement made. We're going to waive this. One guy's thought here. What you thinking? 'Cause there's a big picture here too.
I agree. But I don't condone shoddy work.
No, I hear you. I'm with you on that.
Whether it's a patch or not, when you've got 2 perfect surfaces, that patch should have been much better than it was.
I'm with you to Don's point though, with all due respect, it's different opinions and the guy that's in charge drove it, felt comfortable and already spoke to them and said, we're good with what we're talking about. I hate to undo that. It takes the credibility away from everybody, right? And I don't like to go there if we don't have to go there because we've got a long-term relationship with them with a lot of work in the future.
So if they're aware of that they do a lot of work with us, I would have thought maybe they would have been a little bit more agreeable to make this right.
Well, the concession was the 45,000. Their concession, they thought they were making a concession. The thing is, I would have never left personally the work to be a reflection of my business. I wouldn't have left it that way. I would have thought there's no amount of money that's gonna let me do the work like this unless they, you know, and let Don said he drove it. You know, maybe the way it was expressed is, you know what, it wasn't perfect, but it's gonna get by until we do the next part of it. It's a short-term deal. It's not a long-term deal.
Let's put a sign out there and says, this month is courtesy of D&D.
Enjoy the ride.
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Can we vote on that?
So I guess if everybody's comfortable with paying them, I can get past that, but I do, like the suggestion that Ray put out there, that something should be done to it. Some way, somehow.
Yeah, I had plans to get something done this year yet, but I have to see how his finances go.
And in the future, if deconstruction is even close, might be the lowest bidder. But if there's somebody else, I'm gonna have to take that into consideration.
Trouble is, you can take into consideration of both, but Illinois law requires that we award to the lowest responsible bidder.
Yeah.
So long as they're pre-qualified by the state of Illinois, they're gonna be a responsible bidder.
Even if they did bad work before?
At that point, county would have to pass a resolution banning that contractor from bidding work.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Otherwise, that bans them from being an eligible bidder. Till then, they're an eligible bidder.
What about Bill's sign?
If you want to make an impact, I think we need to either, as a board, either write a letter, do a resolution, something like that, as a warning that we don't like, and point this out. We could do that to have impact and have teeth in it. But again, I say, in the scope things, I always look at things in big picture. They've done, 1,000 jobs, and we're talking one patch job that we're not happy with. And it comes down to an individual who did it, right? So they have hundreds of people that work for them. It's a pretty good training program. I know where I work, we're not perfect, and I'm sure, things don't happen that way.
No.
Yeah, so, I don't know, I say please keep it in context as well. I don't like the situation, Steve, what you're saying. I'm just saying, I think we need to keep it in context.
Don, when you're dealing with, I'm sure the deconstruction is so big, there's several people you have to deal with. Like, we probably have an engineer on that job.
Mhm.
I mean, so deconstruction must have somebody in charge of that job. What is your relationship with that person? I don't know if it's, they walked away from a horseshit job.
But they walked away agreeably.
Yes.
Agreeably, they walked away agreeably. That's the difference. If Don never had the conversation, it'd be different. But they walked away agreeably. Now we're reversing that, which I would not want to be put in that spot. Is all I'm saying.
Again, referring back to the liability of the situation, is there a warning sign that can be put up and would that suffice? Like dangerous curve,
Oh, you wouldn't put
whatever.
dangerous curve, you'd put an
No.
advisory speed sign up for a curve. And you'd put it 10 miles an hour less than what the speed limit is. So you'd drop it down to about 35. And at that point, someone drives off the road and that's doing 55, like Steve. Well, at that point, you advise them he's supposed to be taking it at 35 during wet conditions, snow conditions. And at that point, they drive off the curve and it's excessive speed. At that point, you already warned them that, hey, you should have slowed down.
That I
But-
do like.
Why don't we do that?
Yeah,
If we turn around and we get a resurface before then, well, at that point, we can avoid putting the sign up.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think it's a good resolution.
So if we don't get taken care of by winter, we'll get the signs up. If it get taken before winter, we're not gonna put the signs up.
And honestly, the sign covers us to take the pressure off you.
Yep.
I'm fine with that if the sign went up. And I think we're all good with
Me
that.
too.
So take the pressure out. Don't
Yep.
put the county in the spot.
Yep.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
So we're all good?
All good?
I'm gonna put DAD's name on that sign.
Like the way you
So-
think, Bill.
So you need your
The back
motion in a
side.
second.
Then I need a motion to approve the bills. Bill? Ray?
Yeah, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment.
You have any?
Public comment?
Call in.
Utility bills.
We got two utility permits. First one's 2329 for Nicor Gas. for relocating a gas main down on County Highway 15 north of Kernan up to North 15th Road. They are running along the east side of our right of way. I did put stipulations on their permit that they had to be 5 feet below the bottom of the crossroad culverts and 36 inches minimum below existing ground line and parallel to existing highway, because it's a stretch of road where we're going to be doing an improvement. There's a big federal project down there and touching the ditches, so I want to make sure his gas main is definitely deep enough that it won't be in conflict with that project. I recommend that for approval. Next one's for Bolt J.F. Edwards. This is for the GSG wind farm up in Mendota Township. They have one boring going underneath County Highway 12, just east of East 4th Road. They are going to be a minimum of 5 feet below the bottom of the ditch, which is well adequate for more than what we will require. And I recommend that for approval. And that's it.
I need a motion to approve the utility permits.
Make a motion.
Ray? Steve? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Next, we have the letting. So what we're doing is 18-36-810-00DR Walls Freedom Box Culvert Project. This contractor I have on here is D Construction for $209,430.
You said it again, Don?
209,430. Next one I have is for Gillen Construction for $198,685. So $198,685. Next is for Illinois Valley Excavating for $177,873. So $177,873. Next we have is 23-00403-00RS. This is resurfacing on County Highway 55.
Where is that, Don?
That's on North 27th, North 26th, 83rd Road. So east of Shepherd School going towards Marseilles.
Is that McKinley Road?
Yeah, in town, McKinley Road, yeah. $1,054,214.31. So 1,054,214.31. That's for advanced asphalt. The only bidder. Move on to resolution 23-19, variance to LaSalle County Access Regulation Ordinance for Barbara Woodward on County Highway 21. Keith, do you have an update?
Yes, somewhat. With the option of moving the tower. I haven't found a resolution for moving the tower because AT&T already has their environmentals and their FAA approvals, so they're not looking for that option. And the landlord, because of their residential setbacks, if we move it anywhere behind her house, it has to be put out into the field because of the state setbacks, so she is not going to do that. And I left multiple messages with the neighbor about using their driveway and they never responded, so. That is my update on that. No one was responding, so. And I stopped by, but nobody was home at the neighbor. That's about it, so.
So there's another way we could look around this, whatever. I mean, do we want to give them access to the tower? Provide an access point for the tower. One, we could look at it, we can give them a temporary one so they can get the tower built and then remove it. At that point, when they do any other work on it, they'd have to get access from the person's private land and drive through the field to get to the tower. I mean, most times he says it's a pickup, pulling over and working on it. Once put the pull and work on it, you can pull up on the shoulder and park and walk to the tower and work. It's not that far away. So that's an option to do it that way. That's why you're still providing them access to build their tower. The tower gets built and they can still get access to it. I mean, as far as emergency services, most of them that would be there, they want to pull and park in the ditch anyway. They're going to park in the road. If they see them pull in the ditch, they might just park right in the middle of the road. What do you guys think?
And who's paying for this?
They give us, we put the entrance in, but we charge them a fee to put it in. We charge them basically price of the culvert plus $500.
Will we charge them to take it out as well?
No, we just pay it just to put it in and then we just go and remove it because at that point, we'd probably just work it out to something different, whereas it's temporary. We'd probably pay $500 to put it in, $500 to take it back out because we're getting the pipe back.
So they have to put a road in, right?
No, it's just putting an access point in. You just give them access off the county highway. We could do it a temporary access to put one out there to them and build their tower. So they get the heavy equipment in to build their tower. Then once they build their tower, we could take and remove the access back out.
Does heavy equipment fit the bill as far as what we allow on the roads to go into that way?
Well, if it's anything's over 80,000 pounds, they have to get a permit
Okay.
still. I'm not sure what type of trains they'll be mobilizing in.
So Don, refresh my memory. In the previous meetings, you said that you had gone back just to double check if there was any precedent. And this would be the first time that we would be setting the precedent for the future that this is possible to have two entrances.
The only one we've done in recent history was for the lock and dam. To separate the construction traffic at the lock and dam from the visitor center. Which makes sense. You don't want car traffic driving through where their heavy equipment's constantly working. And that was when they were really doing a heavy construction on the lock and dam. And General said, yes, that doesn't make sense. And it failed the access ordinance by the fact that the space between two driveways was only minor distance short of what our access spacing would have been on County Highway 34.
Why didn't you come up with this option before?
How come it's just kind of things where you just lay, sleep at night and kind of think about things and you go, well, we just do a temporary entrance, but also that's up to if AT&T would be okay with this a temporary entrance, and then at that point, it getting removed at that point.
Yeah, I would send it a text because I've never encountered that option, so
Mhm.
I'm asking. But
When you say temporary, you're talking how long?
Well, this be for installation of the tower.
Which is gonna take the approximately,
I'd say 2 months. Yeah, well, let's take this month.
Well, I was gonna say, if you give them that temporary, just say it's within 6 months, it's come out. So whether it takes them 2 months or with weather and that,
Yeah.
give them a 6 month window, that's plenty.
Thank you.
Actually, it's for Keith. So it's a temporary entrance. But if they need to repair that tower, would they need to have heavy equipment in there to do it?
yes, and plus.
So you would have to have the culvert and everything, a temporary access again, if you needed to repair this. Is that correct?
Correct, I mean, they put some way to get there with the crane. So like AT&T Wireless is the original carrier, and then let's make up someone, let's just say Dish or Verizon wants to go on there, then they need cranes to put them on the tower.
So then would you come in with a request to make the road accessible again, pay the fees again, and then have another 6-month time frame that you need to have this done by?
Correct, I'm guessing, the tower owner or AT&T would not be in favor of that, but I'm not, like I said, I've never been asked that before, so I'm trying to find that out right now.
and I'm looking at this kind of going, where Steve was going is setting precedents for the future. This is a business deal. There's money being made from this tower, correct, for this lady. There's poor planning. These people, it's poor planning. They went ahead knowing what they were gonna do. They still did other things. It's almost like, I feel like a fine, something should be levied on top of that. To say.
To that individual?
Yeah, to say, we're gonna do this temporary for 90 days, 6 months, whatever it might be, but to stop others from abusing it, it's gonna cost you an additional, because we don't do this, and there's gonna be a fine to this, because you've caused us to go outside our norm. I don't know, is that something we can do to make sure others aren't just freely saying, hey, I need a temporary culvert in here? You did it for so-and-so, do it for me.
Or you just say no.
Or you just say no.
Yeah.
So just to refresh my memory, this lady, she already has a permit for a driveway. Is there one there now?
The driveway's already there, she's got a machine set up and she's already starting to work on her house.
Okay, and then either she or contacted AT&T or they contacted her.
It was the
Yeah,
opposite
she
way.
contacted AT&T first, so there was, at that point, one entrance. Then she decided to build a house, which took the entrance. So now there's no entrance available for AT&T.
She could have did the original one to the tower and then veered off into her own if she wanted to, but she didn't want to do that, so she did what she did.
Well, as most people are unaware of certain things and ordinances in the South County, and then you just go out and build, and then get caught in the middle of building something. And it's not though, just our driveways get caught because number one, because they got to come to us to get a permit to put the access points in. So at that point, we said, by the way, there's an access ordinance. Here it is. It's on our website. Read it. It's what we got to follow. But I know people all the time to go out and they'll build something. They'll be halfway through building it when they get caught by land use, not having a building permit. And this, with that, generally there is a fine, increased fee for getting a delayed building permit. But that is not built. So at that point, really, where's the fine going to be at? Besides, if we give them a temporary entrance, but then that point I can't see because it's not really written into our ordinance about any fees like that.
Mhm.
So at that point, it's kind of hard to charge anyone then. far as like the temporary access, I was just, I just thought of when I laying in bed thinking about things, how can you resolve something? I was just doing it as an option. Like I don't like doing more double entrances because at that point, as soon as we start doing more, we're going on a cap it where everyone's going to expect
The same
same
consideration.
thing, same
Yep.
consideration for theirs.
So just trying to figure this out. The lady that owns the property is also the lady that granted AT&T the right to put up the tower.
Correct.
Okay, and so she did her work and got the permit to have the, access to her property. And then she decided she's gonna build a house and the AT&T is also gonna build the tower, but she don't want them to use that access to build the tower.
That's,
She was unaware, I mean, not taking away responsibility of knowing the rules, but she was unaware that her driveway, she was unaware you couldn't have two driveways. So she didn't know when she put her driveway in, that would make ours not work.
And Bill, to be clear, she can go across the front of her property if she wants to, but I don't think she's choosing to
She
exercise that
can,
option.
or he can, they can.
And they may need a straight, where they may have to curve around, they're looking for a straight access to the tower, I believe, correct?
Yeah, that's more for the emergency, just so you don't have to turn for the crane. The construction is not as big a deal, it's more for the emergency services.
So there was never an access road to this property ever before.
no, because it was being farmed with a
Okay.
farmer that had access from a different point. It was,
Okay,
in fact, you go out there and look right now, there's not a fence line down on, or crop line down the west side of the property line because it's getting farmed with adjacent property to the west.
The field is 3 parcels, so they come in technically from a different parcel. And that field is, you know, technically it is different parcels, and that's one big field, but it's different parcels. But it-
But she's making money off this, if she wants to, she
Yeah,
can put a
that's
road
what
in.
that makes sense, but,
that's what I'm thinking.
She put a road
It's
in.
her problem.
It's her problem.
And I would think by now that you would start looking at a different parcel of property, although you said there was a lot to go through to get permits to put it in place to begin with, but
Correct, I'm the middleman, I'm deciding.
it
Sorry.
just seems like
don't-
I would say, okay, we're out of this picture now and
So what if
go
we,
somewhere else.
not our-
what if we skip over this in the agenda with the hopes that you get a response so that we can come back to it and consider that temporary? I think that's thank you.
Or we just turn around and say, depends on, you just turn around and say, hey, we'll give it a temporary. And he can come back next month and say the temporary is no good. And at that point, we'd have to go through and go forward from there. Or you can wait till the end of the meeting and see if you get a response, but I'm not sure if you'll get a response.
I can update that, my immediate boss said that a temporary one does not work.
Okay,
Okay, well then that's off the table.
temporary's off the table.
Which is what I thought, because I said if someone else wants to add antennas, I say no.
Yeah, I'm with you.
For you guys, either way, every time we want.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You'd have to request temporary.
Yeah. She created her own property.
So
Yeah, we should be out of this.
which way do you guys want to do this? 'Cause I got both. Which way do you guys want to go?
So we
For
vote on it?
what? We're voting on this
Do
resolution.
you wish, I got both, I got the resolution written both ways, so which ways do you want to go? Do you want to grant the request or deny the request?
Deny.
Deny. It's okay.
We have to make.
So you need a motion?
Motion
I'll make a
to
motion.
deny resolution 2319. Linda? Ray, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Sorry.
Temporary still on the table.
But did you not indicate that
It's
the
about-
AT&T said
His,
no?
his immediate boss said no, but then
Right.
they always got a chance to still think about it.
Yeah, I mean, you can ask, but
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be a no, but I want to get official. So I'm just usually,
Well, I was letting you know that part would still be on the table for you, so.
thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Keith. Going on to resolution 23-20. Authorizing a professional services agreement with Hutchinson Engineering for engineering services for section 23-00860-00BR, County Highway 15, half mile south of Kernan, and appropriating the necessary funds from the county highway fund to pay for the cost of the agreement. This is a bridge that's south of Kernan. We originally were trying to do it as part of the big federal project that we were doing down there. It wasn't in our system as a bridge. I don't know why it wasn't removed from our inventory of structures, but it was. But with that, it kind of was going to delay the letting of the big project to include the replacement of this bridge with it. So we're doing a separate engineering agreement to go through all the hurdles with that to get this project to a letting to get that bridge replaced. Because right now, after we got it out there, well, did an inspection on it, now it's low posted for 18 tons and 24, 30.
Might have to look.
I can't remember. I know 18 tons for single axle,
It might be 36.
for two axles. I can't remember. I think it's 36 for multiple. So this is engineering agreements to handle that.
Okay, I need a motion, for resolution 23-20.
I'll make a motion.
Ray, Bill, all in favor? Opposed?
Question, John.
Okay.
What you're saying is you're getting a federal project on a road out there, but this bridge was not,
We were actually knew structure existed, but we were thinking it was a small box culvert. And because it wasn't on our inventory records as a bridge. And we went out and did an inspection on it, and it's in very poor shape. At that point, it needed replacement of a bridge, not a box culvert. And with that, the hydraulics coming into it is severe. Right now, the channel comes up to the edge of the road, runs alongside the road for about 200 feet, then goes underneath the box culvert, goes to the west. And with that, there's great potential for scour with that kind of channel happening through that area. So going through the whole environmental thing, we're gonna have to address the channel a little bit on the upstream side and downstream side to make everything flow right. So it's a little more beyond the one original scope of the original project is. So
you're gonna replace it with a bridge?
it'll be a bridge.
Because it wasn't identified originally as a bridge, is that not in our budget?
It wasn't in the budget of the original other engineering agreement. Yes,
It was or it wasn't?
it wasn't.
Because they didn't know it's a bridge.
Okay.
We were doing this box culvert, so that bridge wasn't part of the scope. Next one I was 23-21.
Approval on that. We need approval on that. We had a first and a second.
Vote.
We need a vote. And here.
Okay, can I ask a question? So how much more is this gonna cost us to do this project with the bridge? Is it in there?
Yeah.
Okay, and that is in our budget, we are able to,
That if I haven't, in the professional services in 05, that's when the funds come out, and I do have the funds to do that.
okay, just for the professional services.
Services, the construction would be next year's budget.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Buried in the contract.
All in favor of resolution?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
$92,740.
Consulting, correct?
Yes. Phone services, yes. All right. 23-21, it's authorizing a professional service agreement with Chandler Associates for section 23-27852-00-DR, East 24th Road over Tributary to Otter Creek, and appropriating necessary funds from the County Bridge Fund to pay for costs of agreement. This is part of our County Bridge Aid program with Otter Creek to replace the one set of culverts down there in Otter Creek. And it's probably going to, the replacement's probably going to be a bridge. And we're looking at engineering fee of $99,560.
Ask a question. They charge a percentage of the project? Is that how they get the consulting fee?
No, they go through and estimate the number of man hours. This is the upper limit. And if they can do it with less man hours than what they estimated, it will be less. But this is the upper limit, no matter what, they can't exceed 99,560.
And Dan, I apologize because I think you made answers before, but how do we pick which professional service we use?
Right now, we have 4 we use within the county, and I kind of rotate it through the 4.
Okay.
And they are all doing quality work for us. In fact, we got the one over at Will Hoffman's got the one where he won the award for Sandy Ford. So we're splitting between 4 different consultants, which is Chamlin's, Hutchinson, Chastain, and Will Hoffman.
Thank you.
Any more questions? I need a motion to approve resolution 2321. Bud, Bill, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Next I have is resolution 23-22, appropriating motor fuel tax funds for section 23-00403-00RS, County Highway 55, from Iowa City limits to County Highway 15. This is just the formal IDOT resolution to use MFT funds for the resurfacing on County Highway 55.
Where did you say that was again?
It's going from Shepherd's School towards Marcellus.
Oh, okay. Now I remember.
Okay, I need a motion for resolution 2322. To approve. Bill? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Lost my agenda. Sitting in between us at work. Next I have is 23, adopting the 2024 County Highway Improvement Program. There is, should be the last sheet of your stack of papers, or 11 by 17. Be the last one. There it is, yep. Okay, so this is what we're looking at next year. For Cape Seal, we're looking at Cape Seal and County Highway 5 from 251 to County Highway 44. County Highway 6 from Illinois 23 to County Highway 15. County Highway 11 from County Highway 2 to County Highway 21. County Highway 13 from US 52 to County Highway 19. County Highway 16 from Cedar Point to County Highway 63. County Highway 19 from Mendoza to County Highway 13. County Highway 38 from US 34 to County Highway 19. County Highway 57 from County Highway 6 to County Highway 8. So we're looking at doing about 22 miles of Cape Seal for approximately $1.5 million. Then we got 2 small seal coat sections. We're looking at doing a 45 and 60 down there at Dana, going to the south and to the east. It's 3 miles, looking at about 81,000. Then we go through and the shoulder gravel are all the jobs that we are Cape Sealed this year. So we're looking at spending about $190,000 of shoulder gravel. Then down below is our more major resurfacings, which includes the County Highway 2 that we left this year. Still listed there for this, from Salmonok to County Highway 22. And then we got the second phase of it from County Highway 22 to US 52. And the second one's substantially larger than what the first one, to the fact that we got $1 million in HSIP funds to put shoulders down on the whole stretch from Salmonok down to 52. And right now, we are being delayed on that project in Icor for the gas main, so. We're trying to get them to get their gas main out of the way for one culvert to get replaced, so we don't want to go through and do it again where we resurface everything and we still got a culvert in the middle of the road. That's the reason why we put the culverts as part of the project, because we wanted to replace the culverts and not tear up a new road to repair a culvert within 5 years after we just paved the road. County Highway 14 to resurface from 251 to County Highway 44. Then we got a large resurfacing project on County Highway 15 for $5.9 million. And then we got our federal project that's going to resurface County Highway 41 out of Earlville up to the DeKalb County line. And that's got TARP funds into it and federal funds only, no county funds in it. And with that, once we do that up to DeKalb County line, DeKalb County is making their county highway that connects into it an 8,000 pound road too. And also then it feeds up to one that goes east to west, which is making that 8,000 pounds. And then when it goes in Lee County is making theirs 80,000 pounds. It's all going to be done next year. So at that point, they're going to have a nice trucking route up that area, all connected together.
Which road is this? Is this by the,
This is Rollo Blacktop, a lot of people call it. Out of,
So no, it wouldn't be by Whitakers. It'd be, yeah. Goes up to the old Rollo elevator.
okay.
So it'd be west of Whitakers, actually.
go on to culverts and drainage projects. North 12th Road, that's the one being done with Livingston County. It's getting built this year. You got the one on East 0th Road in Troy Grove Township. That's north of Fitchmore Elevator, looking at $500,000 to replace the bridge, and actually going to be a culvert next year. Then one on East 30th Road, Wapakan Creek. That one's going to be in a bridge for $600,000. Then we still got the one in here on County Highway 9, which hopefully still get to a letting yet this year, like by the old sale barn. And then we got the preliminary engineering for the one we just passed today for resolution over Prairie Creek. County Highway 33, culvert lining over by Black Hill. 33 project, culvert replacement, that's at East 11th. Then one on County Highway 34, Clark Run, that's start preliminary engineering. That's the one where we stopped at doing a Bridge A tour down by the Lock and Dam. Okay, and the preliminary engineering started for that one. County Highway 52, preliminary engineering's been going on for a while. We're still hoping to get special funding for that bridge to get that replaced. And then County Highway 57, Red, White, and Blue Bridge. That's ongoing right now.
Now I got a question. When we stopped on our tour to look at that bridge down at the dam, are you gonna raise that level?
We'll see what we can do. I would say we're gonna raise it. We'd like to raise it because it does go when, I'll say, high water, but I'm trying to think of the frequency it floods. It's about one that floods every 2 years, it's underwater. So at that point, it'd be nice to get it out of where it's out of the 10-year flood. So it's at that point, up to the 10-year flood, it's still dry. But it's never going to be up the 100-year floodplain because the 100-year floodplain, the whole area is underwater.
So during the construction project there, and that is a main artery that's being used for 80,000 pound, what's the alternative?
So what I'm hoping for is we get to this bridge soon enough where we can do it staged. What IDOT does. They do half the bridge at a time. Because otherwise it's close the road down and then people have to come all the way to nameplate to come back in from the east.
And affects our income off of the barge terminal.
Yeah. But technically, right now, our township's looking at making 2803rd and 80,000 pound road. So technically that would be the other way in and to at that point, but that's still a long ways around. It's not ideal. I mean, you pay somewhere between 25 to 30% more for a stage bridge. Basically, so you gotta build 2 bridges to build 1 bridge. Any other questions on the improvement program for next year?
Is this all you got going?
That's not all we got going. That's all. Big things.
Better watch you right there, executive chair.
To approve resolution 2323. Hey, Linda? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Yeah.
The quote for pavement preservation in Champlain Street, did you ever get a response back from the guy yet today?
Yeah.
We're looking at ways to preserve the pavement on Champlain Street and Etna Road. We know it was done roughly, I think, 11 or 12 years ago when the resurfacing was done. We're trying to come up with a good means to preserve that pavement to get a longer life cycle out of it. Because right now, the way it's deteriorating, I'm thinking we're going to be doing a resurfacing somewhere between 5 to 10 years on it. So I'm trying to get that life cycle a little bit beyond that. So we had met with the one guy for corrective asphalt materials. He was telling us about a product that he felt would work very well on it. But at that point, it was going to be roughly about $2 a yard, and to do it all would be, both Etna and Champaign Street would be $80,000. I go, well, I like to see how it works and how it does, treated and everything like that before I do everything. So then they said, all right, let's just do it on Champaign Street, which could cut it down to about $28,000. So at that point, we're looking at doing it that because it's very heavy. I want to say basically a slurry seal that gets applied to the pavement, and then they put lime dust over the top of it. So at that point, it is dusty at first. So at that point, one of the things about trying it on Champaign Street at first, that's less traffic than what Etna has. It has less businesses along it. The courthouse is not right in front of it. So if it doesn't work too well where we don't like it, we might not do it on Etna in front. But then again, we can then compare how Champaign Street ages to how Etna ages, and you also get a lot longer life out of that. You know, in the future, this is a good product. We need to be using more of it on our resurfacings. So there's a couple different ways to play it, but we're going to try getting a quote out of a guy to get done. He says it goes down better in cooler temps than hotter temps. So we still got time yet to do it. So maybe next month he'll have the quote to us to say how much it costs.
So Etna Road is our county road,
Yes,
and then,
Champaign Street is from Etna down to past the cemetery.
Oakwood Cemetery, right in that curve there.
Yes.
Okay. How did Etna end up being a county road?
Because
Is it on both sides of county road?
No.
going to the west.
West is city,
City.
and
I think it was done with conjunction of
the complex.
complex getting built up there.
So we kind of took that over. They built the complex, so we just kept it.
So it's kind of tabled for right now. We'll wait and see next month. We'll jump back up to awarding the projects. Since you guys are both sitting in the room, I can ask you directly. Kevin, are you guys both good with awarding the project to Illinois Valley SUV for $177,000? Okay. So with the Walls of Freedom Township Boss Culvert, 18-36-810-00DR. We had 3 bidders on it. Deconstruction for $209,430. Gillen Construction for $198,685. And Illinois Valley Excavating for $177,873. All 3 were underneath our estimate. So
What was our estimate? Like what? Where? Oh, okay.
very good prices for the work. So I got concurrence from both township commissioners for awarding the project to Valley Excavating. I concur with the award to Valley Excavating.
Need a motion.
Need a motion? Need a motion to Illinois Valley Excavation for $177,873. Steve? Bill? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Is there a rate on that one? Is there?
There's no MFT.
No.
No, we still got waiting days on this TVP, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Next one is 23-00403-00RS, County Highway 55. We had one bidder on it, Advanced Asphalt, for $1,054,214.31. They were 1% underneath our estimate. And I recommend that we award it to Advanced Asphalt.
Need a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Ray? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Everything we did in Utica was really smooth.
Is there a rate on that?
Yes, because it's empty, yes.
Advanced.
Yeah.
Now we can move on to our first review of our budgets for the highway department. So you can grab your large sheets out. First one I have is 05. As the tax levy is an educated guess. That's how much it goes up. This year, I think property taxes went up a little more, I think, than we were anticipating, because mine definitely went up, my house went up more than what I would think. So most years I put a 3% increase in there. This year, I put a 6% increase for over last year's budget amount. Personal property replacement tax, I know Stephanie was thinking it wasn't gonna be as much as what this year is. So I kept it the same as what last year was, because this year I think we're up to 118,000 for personal property replacement tax, so kept down with that. Interest income, as we got a large carryover, we're getting a good interest income. Permitted low fees this year, we have a good amount this year because of the wind farm agreement from Dover Township. Access permits were roughly half of what our budget amount was halfway through the year, so we're basically right in line with that. Restitution for highway, that's for damages. We just throw a number up there because it varies from year to year. Township engineering fees are still really heavy that we're collecting through that. There's some materials and services and other main other departments are those minor ones. And the transfer from insurance fund, that's just a dollar amount that we're getting back from the insurance fund. Then you look at our cash balance use number. You go through and actually explain that, where the cash balance use actually is from the fact that we have two F-250s on order at 53,000, two F-150s on order for 33,000 apiece, and two tandems on order for 265,000 apiece. So that's 705,448.06 of carryover from those items on orders to carry over for next year's budget to pay for it, because we're not sure if it'll come in this year still yet or not.
Did we get one truck already?
One,
F-150? Did we?
no, we got an F-350 we're picking up actually tomorrow.
Yeah,
Okay.
one's out of the five is one. So.
Okay.
That's two counting yours, right?
Well,
Well,
yeah, count as F-250, like we had. That
Is
was-
it wore out already or?
almost.
Oh.
Second one, James. Second one.
So that's 75,000. My cash balance use actually is 343,000. That's how I make the $1 million carry over I call it more of a carryover number than it is cash balance use. But that's the way Stephanie wants it labeled, and that's the way, I leave it this way it's been since I've been here. Professional services, last year I had it up to 150,000. This year I'm dropping it down to 90,000. Transfer to general fund for IT personnel. Last year we had 12,000 during when I met with finance last year. Brian told me, why you still got it at 12,000? You can drop it down to 4. I just left last year as long as that point, because I already had finance, I won't revise it. So this year I dropped it down to 4.
So that's all they're charging you?
They don't charge us, it just gets taken out of my thing, a transfer at the end of the year.
Okay,
So that was Brian telling me I could drop it down to 4, so I dropped it down to 4, so.
okay.
Transfer to nursing home, that's for sewer and water reimbursements, so because the nursing home pays for the sewer bill, so we're getting them $10,000 of that.
Is that always what you've given is the 10,000?
Yes.
You've never asked for any increase? Okay.
No. Mostly because most of our wastewater doesn't go into sewer. From our truck washing and everything like that, that goes in down to a pit, which then goes out to an oil separator, which then goes into a storm sewer that goes to the river.
Okay.
So most of the sewer is from the nursing home.
The nursing home.
Then we got transfer to capital improvement for $1.5 million. That includes the 2 tandems from last year, the pickups and all that, plus what we were looking at to purchase as far as 24, which is, I got my future equipment spreadsheet, which kind of project out over years what, looking as far as buying equipment. So next year, looking at buying skid steer along with various attachments for it, a dirty patcher, another pickup, plows and auger boxes. And then I got a line on there budgeted for the Leonore shed. So the 820,000 plus the carryover from last year gets to the $1.5 million. Then transfer to health insurance. That's a figure that Stephanie gives me to fit my budget. Maintenance burglar alarm system that we hire Seco to maintain our system down here.
Is a transfer for health insurance, is that for existing employees and retirees?
No, that's down at the bottom.
Okay, so,
That's some transfer. I'm not sure what it covers, but Stephanie tells me what that number is to put in the budget.
all right.
Which I think it's strange because we get our reimbursement from insurance from the top, so I don't know what's going on.
Okay. All right,
Then we got Seco for that, and then we got travel for 4,000. Electricity for the main office for 13,000. Electricity for Leonore, 4,500. Serena at 800. Streetlights at 4,200. Water for the Leonore shed at 300. You got gas for the main office at 14,004. Gas for Leonore and Serena at both at 4,800. Telephone at 12,000. Internet at 5,300. Janitorial at 14,000. Rent equipment at 5,000. Education at 10,000. Publications at 6. Dues and subscriptions at 4,500. Miscellaneous expense at 500. Office supplies and expense 12,000. Office equipment expense 13,000, which I'm budgeting again this year to buy 4 more computers. I'm taking the approach of buying basically 4 computers every year. And then once we get done buying everyone computers, at that point we start the cycle over and start buying them again. Instead of just trying to buy 20-some computers in 1 year and then not buying the computers for 6 years and then buying 20-some computers again. Just go buy 4 or 5 a year.
are you reusing those computers? Or are they, how are trading them in, or what are they doing?
They're old, no one wants them.
Okay,
recycling day.
The recycle,
Okay.
yeah, they go to recycle. We keep some here as spares to back up just
That's
in
what I
case something
wondered
happens.
if you,
We do have some as spares, but I think we have 3 or 4 in our closet right now as spares. But like we generally keep those for the dirtier conditions, not give them the nice ones like they're out in the shop and Simon and that.
and then I do have a question. How come our electricity for Leonard jumped up to 45 from the 2,000?
Why?
The budgeted amount for electricity was 2,000 for 2023, and you're going to 4,500? Am I reading that correctly?
Yeah. This year, we're at 2,400. We're over our budget amount this year.
Okay,
Projecting now we're gonna be able for 4,000. And also with that, with us doing a rebuild down there, they're gonna be using our power supply as they rebuild it too. So
okay,
we're gonna have some low costs for that. So I wanna make sure we have some money in the budget for all that. And also with our guys in down there more, they're using more electricity than what we used in the past. In past years, they used to always lump the electricity under one item.
mhm,
It wasn't under
individual,
individually, so.
better understanding of how you spend the funds, so,
And then we get down to software purchases and licenses. That's for all our different services that we use for GIS, for ArcGIS, for ThinkGIS, for AutoCAD and all them. Then we get down on our payroll, our first payroll item, which is for 3 ladies, which includes Eva, Jenny, and Marianne. And overtime for them, 3. And then we get the maintenance, repair, engineering equipment, and supplies for engineering. And then we get another payroll, which is for part of the engineering staff. And that includes our engineering staff. And over the years, they had different percentages for the employees back and forth because we charge, trying to track on payroll when they're working on a road and when they're working on a bridge. So at that point, we can start getting a history build up as far as our engineering fees we're charging according to what we're actually, how many hours we're actually spending there. We want to make sure that our fee that we're charging townships is correct. So we start having a split between when they're working on a road and when they're working on a bridge, so we can start tracking that a little better as far as that, monitor that. But we still, when we go to this part of it, we still split their payroll between the 2 payroll accounts. Then we get into 077 with some maintenance and repair of equipment, 60,000. Maintenance repair the building for 35,000. We get down to diesel expense for diesel for 9,000, which is down less from last year,
Why?
250.
You think the price of diesel is going down?
No, actually, I went through and used what Brian used as far as quantity we take to a letting, which we never used yet. I used this quantity, took for a letting, and then I upped last year's price by a dime. So at that point, that's where I came up with 998,000. And I think the previous years they had it really put up high and just never came down. So brought down to where I think this year we're looking at 73,000 so far this year. We projected out, we're looking at 126,000. So even at that point, we're still well under, but this year we had very mild winter. I don't want to drop the number way down to that number because the next year we might get the other winter where it wasn't severe. So gotta keep some of it for diesel. And the same thing I did for the diesel dyed and the gasoline. Used last year's quantities and then up the prices by basically a dime or 20 cents a gallon.
That may be-
wish I was financed by them. Then you get other vehicle expenses, including DEF, oil and grease, tires, batteries, filters, antifreeze. All those, it depends on which year you have as far as how much you expend on those, because they cycle depending on what our needs are. So we throw roughly what our average is and for those numbers.
The DEF, does you use that in all the vehicles?
Just the diesel, all the diesel trucks.
All the plow trucks use that?
Just the road diesel, right? No, we have actually them 2 new tractors, the 2 farm tractors.
Basically anything that's over, is it 75 horse?
Yeah.
I think anything over 75 horse is gonna have DEF on it now.
Right.
That's the reason I'm looking at Skidster, I'm looking at the buy next year. I'm looking to get one that's 74 horse, so it doesn't have DEF. The rent equipment, that's for all of our air gas supplies. For that. Then our surface for $85,000. Shoulders for 30. Ditches and drains for 5. Bridges and culverts for 110. There's a reason why bridges and culverts went up to 110. It's because I'm looking at that one project that we're gonna line on 33 for 60,000. I put it in under bridges and culverts. And signs and markings is the next one. You see a big increase from last year from 45,000 to 375,000. That's because we always purchased our paint and beads for our marking with MFT funds. Well, MFT funds, as I'm going through the budget, and had the money in 05 to expend. So I moved them from MFT over to 05. So all our paint and pavement markings going to come out of 05 under signs and markings. And then guardrail 5,000, which right now we really don't buy that much guardrail supplies because we've got a nice stockpile of used parts stockpiled up as we start doing some of our bridge projects. We're putting in the contract that we're going to salvage the guardrail and we take it down ourselves and we stockpile it back. So we have some to use to replace when people our guardrail. Cleaning and clearing right away is mostly in dumpster fees. Then you can see the snow removal from a 240,000 down to 195,000. We lessened our salt ordering this year. We reduced that again, and I still used a price of $70 a ton to establish our $195,000 price. Mowing, that's buying new mower blades and stuff for our mowers and that. Township purchase material, we keep a line up there in case we have to purchase something for a township and then get the reimbursement back from them.
Just jumping back to mowing, what was the big increase on that? Went from 2,500 to 10,000.
I was just looking at projections for what we did for this year. Right now we were expended 4,300 this year so far on it. I know we bought some more. I'm trying to think of the words. Not blades.
Chains?
Not chains.
Weed whacker.
Not drive shafts. Your universals. Your
PTO shaft.
PTO shafts on the mowers. Several of them go bad, so at that point they bought new shafts. And those
They're
are,
not made like they used to be, so.
so that's where the big expense was this year. I'm not sure because we do have some older mowers still out there. So at that point, those are going out and then some gearboxes go out, so.
It's like the old Maytags, they just don't make them like they used to.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Other county department expense, have it at 1,000. And that's just in case we buy something for them, and miscellaneous, just miscellaneous. Supplies for maintenance. Where his supplies is, you should know all these by height, Brian, these are all your numbers.
Show me the invoice and make it pay.
Show your cheat sheet.
All right.
Yeah, this miscellaneous, whatever Brian's charging stuff to it. So I got written down for it.
For the shop and, yeah.
Material repair vehicles,
Decks of cards.
Oh.
I'm filming for 60,000. Material repair buildings, that's when we buy like an overhead garage door or something like that, or some sheeting for a building repair or whatever. Special equipment for radios, I'm not sure why we have that in there, we've had it in there. I think it's just a backup in case one of our radios in our trucks go bad, we have a line item to buy a new radio. Health and life insurance, that's for our current employees, and the one below is for our retirees. That takes that off of my projections off this year, where we're at this year. And then payroll, 260,000. That's for our 3 mechanics and our maintenance man.
And
That
Don,
we're for them.
on that, we had 260 in F-22 and F-23. I mean, there's no raises here? I'm not seeing that.
Well, they're getting the raises. I think that's had the number overinflated for this year in there.
The actual looks like you're at 45% in,
Because the way I'm projecting next year for the 4 guys' salaries, I'm looking at 255,000. And I got 260 just in case there's,
So
Now, is that part of this, that you've got retirements,
well,
people that would be a higher scale,
well,
now you're bringing in?
no, it wasn't more of that. I think last year I just had a number, and previous year I had 260, and I was left at 260. So I'm just carrying this,
doesn't,
because in 22 I had 262, yeah.
it's 7 July 25th, Steve, we used, look like 45% of it so far, so it's their half the year, so you're at 90%
Yeah,
of usage of the 260.
yeah.
And are you operating in full capacity? You have all the employees that you need. You don't anticipate having to pay out more for?
Really, the question is, have we had, because we've used 45% up through, were we full staffed?
Full staffed. Mhm.
We're full staff.
Yeah.
But
But 2 guys.
the problem was, we also had, at that point, last year when I had budgeted, Jerry was here. He retired last year.
A higher dollar.
It's higher dollar, and then
Mhm.
Daryl came in and he's at a lower dollar value. So that's also the reason why I kind of stayed at 260.
But other than that, you have all the staffing
Yeah.
you need.
Right. We're gonna be hiring here shortly.
That's for maintainers,
Two retirees and
One
one
res-
tied
one resignation, yep.
Okay.
Where's the exempt line? Is that not
Exempt line.
for salary? This is just hourly?
Oh, you're talking about
Any salary?
for non-union people?
Yeah.
The Mary Ann's in the one up under 05075, 9,000. And then Megan is split between the ones down for engineering at 076, 9,000. She's 50% on that one, and then she's 50% over on the bridge one. It's under budget 007. So that's where their salaries are part of that. You don't see a separate line item for them, they're lumped in with other employees. So that's 05 budget all the way through. And as I said, this month is just a review. Next month, we will pass it. So this year, we got time to sit at home and look at it again, come back with more questions next month.
Good job of controlling overtime.
Well, that was Mother Nature's helping.
Yeah.
That, the overtime on this isn't really, besides mechanics, is the only one that's there. The overtime is all the guys working on construction, which last couple of years, we've had a very heavy workload out in construction. It still looks like it's going to be that way for another couple of years. We go on to 06, which is special tax match. Again, it's got tax levy, the personal property replacement tax, interest income, cost sharing. That's a project that we're still trying to work on with inside Wedren. And cash balance use. Cash balance use is $1.7 million worth of carryover projects and $300,000 actually of cash balance use. You look at your sheets, all the stuff that's grade, those are carryover projects from last year. The one that's in yellow, that's the one project in Wedren, which Wedren is going to give us Wedren Silico is going to give us $350,000 to participate in the project. So county's only got $150,000 in the project. But we're still carrying that over from previous years. So with our first new project in there that we're getting funding is for County Highway 2, the tarp resurfacing for the south portion of County Highway 2 for $888,400. And then you get down to our maintenance patrol, which at that point, the first one down there is for striping for $175,000. That's when we hire our striping contractor to apply the paint that we buy. And then we have aggregate shoulders for $96,000, seal coat for $40,500, skip patch for $50,000, Cape Seal for $755,820. Those last four items, it's only half what we got on our program because we split the cost between 06 and MFT. So there's 50-50. So looking at an overall budget of $4.1 million, which 2.1 is basically carryover. Then we go into 07, bridges. We have our tax levy, our personal property replacement tax, interest income, federal reimbursement, township bridge reimbursement, bridge engineering fees, then and township bridge program, and adjacent county line bridge. Cash balance use of $2.6 million, which $2 million is from carryover projects, another $474,000 from carryover from bridge aid, for a total of $2.3 million of carryover projects. The cash balance use of $308,000. Again, the grayed out ones are projects carried over from last year. The ones in yellow is the Millington Bridge project, which the $700,000 is what was still owed on the project once we get a bill from the state for it. And once we get a bill from the state, we turn around, bill Kendall County for the $700,000 because that was their share of the project.
And the money, like it's carried over, is that sitting in an account somewhere?
Yeah, that's my cash balance. If you look at it right now, you look at my cash balance on your reports that you receive monthly, you'll see a cash balance up there. So that's those projects that cost is in that cash balance.
And you're getting interest on that.
But we're getting interest on it, yeah. So,
And we're receiving the interest.
yes, what's up there in my interest income. At least I think I'm receiving all the interest. I think the treasurer's giving it all to us. As far as new projects, I still keep budgeting $10,000 for bridge inspections, just in case we need assistance on a bridge sometime. And county bridge engineering consultants, the same thing, I keep a little fund there for there, and the same thing with county bridge engineering for critical bridges. Just keep there in case we need assistance. Most years we don't, so we don't just roll the money over, but we just keep it there just in case we need assistance. Then we have our newer projects, which is $420,000 for culvert on East 11th for construction of it, and then $160,000 for engineering there on County Highway 34 deep end road by Lock and Dam. You got $10,000 for buying right away with adjacent to bridges. And then we get down to our county line structures. We got $600,000 budgeted for the bridge down on East 30th Road in Allen Township, and $500,000 budgeted for East Searles Road, Troy Grove, north of Fitchmore. Then you get over to our bridge aid projects. We got $360,000 for Dimick for the bridge over a little over $1 million. $58,000 for Eden Township for timber pile repairs. $74,000 for two structures in Farm Ridge for timber pile repairs. $230,000 for the culvert in Grand Rapids. $150,000 for culvert in Vermillion Township. And then we get down to our part of payroll, which is part of engineering staff and Megan's salary for $370,000. I bumped overtime up just a little bit from what this year. So we're looking at overall budget of $6.2 million. Then we go on 17. Looking at allotments from the state. Last year at budget at 2.5 million. We're looking at 2.6 million for next year, because this year we're looking at getting about 2.6 million this year. Yeah, interest income about 100,000. We got the consolidated state payment from MFT for 528. TARP funds reimbursements for 900,000, and reimbursement for half the county engineer salary for 72,000. And our fund balance use of $2.8 million. That's from carryover projects of $2.4 million and a cash balance use of $451,000. Again, the grayed out projects are carryovers from last year. Actually, this year.
Don, just jumping back up to the monthly allotments from the state. Motor fuel tax is the tax that from fuel stations in the county, or is it also apportioned, for over the road that leads back to us for using the road?
MFT is collected statewide into a pot. Of course, IDOT takes their portion. Then the local agencies get their portion, which is somewhere split. I think it's around 57-43, if I remember right. Then out of the 43% that's there, the counties get so much, municipalities get so much, and the road districts get so much. Municipalities get theirs based off the population of their town compared to the population of all towns in the state. Road districts get theirs based off the mileage of their road district compared to all township road mileage, their portion. The counties get theirs based off motor vehicle registrations, based off the motor vehicle registrations for the whole state. So that's how it's portioned out.
And run that back to the motor vehicles registered in a complete state?
It's number of motor vehicles registered in LaSalle County compared to the number of vehicles registered in the whole state.
Doesn't seem fair. We get,
That's
You need to buy
MFT
another
law.
car.
It's been run that way.
You need to buy another car.
Yeah, you guys need to buy more cars. You need to buy more trucks.
It doesn't seem fair, does it?
no, I mean, we had the second biggest county in the state, and I don't know what we got in road mileage. Do you know that offhand?
363 miles, which is second largest in the state.
362 miles?
Yeah.
And then the townships do they get having?
They get the MFT and they're based off of the number of miles that they have, which to me is the fairest way because that's what you got to maintain. But, you know, when legislators get involved, they do things their way.
Yeah, our public transportation system is awesome, you know, take a bus everywhere, take a subway.
Next.
You know, it's,
The first new project on there is County Highway 14 from 251 to 44 for 912,000. Then you get down to our next project, which is over half of County Highway 2 resurfacing from 22 to 52 for 681,000, which includes $381,000 of TARP funds. Then we go down to our Maintenance Patrol 1, which includes our seal coat work, our skip patch, our cape seal and egg shoulders. Then we get down to our payroll for our maintainers.
So
And
this, Don, this is where you move your beads and your paint.
Yeah, because I used to have a line up there for beads and paint, which I still got the line item there, but I didn't take it off there because next year I might add it back in, depends how the budget works out. But I took it off there, moved it over to 05, yeah. So that's like $300,000 move from MFT over to 05. Then payroll wise, you got $1.28 million, same as last year. And you go, how can that be? Well, we had 2 retirees and 1 that resigned. Well, with the new employees coming at starting scale, project the numbers out, I'm still looking at the same number of $1.28 million. Even after everyone's got their pay raises for the year. Then the other item there is for my salary, which always is a guess because the state doesn't release that number until about October, November. So I put a number in there that's higher than what I anticipate it's going to be. And overtime for 200,000, like this year, you can see our overtime for maintaining staff. So far it's only been $34,000, well less under the 200,000 that we had budgeted because we had a very mild winter.
So what would be listed under the temporary and seasonal help? Would that be,
I don't have anything budgeted there.
do you use that line item at all?
Yeah, 2 years ago, we had Jay in here because we were short-staffed during the winter. So we brought a guy in to fill in during the winter. Because that's when we were going through an employee issue, which they weren't at work, but we still needed a body here to put in a truck to plow snow.
Okay.
Because we have 17 maintainers and we have 17 snow routes. So as soon as we're down 1 person, we got to start adding mileage to the other routes.
Each seat just jumps in that seat.
I have, man. Not my choice, but I have. You still got your seat, Ellen.
Then is there a line item for mailboxes?
There should be.
where does all this money come from? Does this come from our county, you know, budget?
07, 06. The highway department has their own, I said levy account, basically. Their own line item in the levy. We can do a dime, nickel. And that's separated from the general fund. So these are separate from the general fund accounts. Levied that way.
When you say levy, that's on my real estate taxes.
So as part of the county tax that you see, this part of it is highway, special tax match and bridge, but it's part of the overall county number. For ours, as far as when you get it broke down into that, we actually do have our own separate finance when it goes through that.
You talk about a dime, nickel. Is that percentage of what the county's real estate income or county income is?
So we're a dime, nickel. So at that point, we're getting 0.1, 0.05, 0.05 percentage as a percentage.
What the hell's the county spend the rest of their money at?
That's what you're gonna find out this month.
You're gonna find out when the budget starts going around. So.
Bill, if you take a look on those ones, those funds that Don mentioned, that not funding tax levy, that's part of our tax levy.
That takes me through all of them. One thing I went through on my own, so I was curious. We're halfway through our 6-year county improvement plan. Kind of curious where I stood compared to what I said we've done in 6 years. And I started going through and doing it, going, not doing too bad on roads. I was kind of amazed. I was halfway through it and I got about halfway small. Bridges, and they're a different story, but I understood bridges, bridges are a different animal. They're more expensive. But you can pass it around. I went through and highlighted the ones that are green are the ones that are already done. The ones that are in yellow are the ones that are going to be done this year. And you can see where I stand compared to what I said part of the improvement plan for 6 years. As far as the project update, I don't know.
Can I ask you a question first?
Yes.
I'm just trying to understand a lot of information here, a lot of accounts. Looking at account 006, the levy and special tax match and all that stuff.
Mhm.
It looks like that increased by 4.93%. But as I go through these, look my way backwards, like an account 017.
017 is now a levy fund.
No, the motor fuel.
Motor fuel tax, right, but motor
Yeah.
fuel tax, that's just based off the allotments they received.
No, I
So-
got it, I got
so projection from what last year was to this year.
Yep, and that looks like it went up 20.14%, so that's.
20, I don't think it went up 20%.
Didn't, I thought from the budget amount in F-23 to the proposed amount in '24, you've got $1,180,000.
No, you went from 2,551,000 budgeted in 23 to
Okay.
2.626 in 24.
What is the total expense of 5,900, 5,900,808?
Where's,
And the F-23 budgeted amount,
oh, down at the bottom?
yeah.
Well, don't look at that because some line items got removed. So when you're adding that number up, it's not going to add up the right number and you get that out of there. But that's
Okay,
because I delete line items out of there, which at that point deleted a number out of there.
are none numbers correct then?
On that left-hand side, as far as a total in there, probably not because some of my line items removed.
Because I'm even 007 account, and that went up 40.16% if I'm using your total
Yeah,
expense.
no, don't look at that, no.
Okay,
Because those, we delete projects that got closed out. So at that point, when I deleted it out of the spreadsheet, well, at that point, it deletes that out of that total over there.
how about in account 005, can I use that? Because that went up 24.17%.
probably use that one, but that's because we got a large carryover for all the vehicles. We have to carry over way over on that one.
Because before we start digging into the
Because
individuals,
I got to carry over 705,000. So take $705,000 off the 4.83, then you'd see how much the increase actually was only.
okay, yeah, because the increase is 940, so you're saying take 705 off that?
Yep. Mhm.
All right.
Yeah, carryover really screws everything up.
Excuse the numbers on the bottom.
What was your,
That's the reason why I got the carryovers written at the bottom so everyone can see those different numbers, so.
what was your color code here? The green, the yellow means what?
The green was already done prior 23 and sooner. The ones in yellow are for 24. So halfway through what we had 6-year plan, which is from 22 through 27, looking at getting half the roads resurfaced. That getting resurfaced in that time frame.
And the white is yet to be,
It's to be done yet. So we got 3 more years to get the white done.
looks like you're right on track.
I thought we would have done better.
I know. Yeah, you wouldn't have no hump in the road. So,
Do I want to tempt fate? No, I'll do it afterwards. The red, white, and blue bridge. There now the river is up thanks to inches of rain down to the southeast. So right now they're out of the channel, can't do any work down the channel, but they are up top, tying rebar up for the drill shafts, waiting for the river to go down. And once the river goes down, they're gonna start the drill shaft process. Our one box culvert down by Kernan is nearing completion down there. Our Cape Seal is nearing completion. Our seal coat work, they are working down south of the river, getting that completed, and they'll make the loop back around. And hopefully by beginning of September, they'll be done with all our seal coat work. As you're well aware, our pavement stripers in the county doing our pavement markings on the whole countywide system. As you drive around our countywide system, you can start noticing that we do have a 6-inch edge line now instead of just a 4-inch edge line. Hopefully you should be able to see that a lot better when you're driving down the roads. Our ag shoulder projects are done. Our Bridge 8 projects with townships, they were completed. We got our one bridge project in Dimick Township that they set the beams last Friday on it. Hopefully by the beginning of September, they'll be done and that road opened up. I think that's about it as far as that. There's updates for that. So any other questions for me?
Been here long enough.
how many engineers do you have out on these projects?
I have a staff of 6.
6.
Yes.
So as far as personnel, so you've got 3 openings that you need to fill for me. What about all the other departments?
As far as secretarial, none. As far as engineering, I have 1 to fill. And that was the one I got in conjunction with anticipating 2 employees retiring. So we're still trying to get that one filled. We're still working through the process. We've advertised at various community colleges. We've gone to various universities and put it on their websites. We advertised on our own website, and we're just not getting the candidates that we want to come to our door.
So going back, then you're looking for 1 now, but
Yes.
you're looking for another 2.
We're looking for another one.
further on.
When those 2 retire, we'll be looking for another one, because the agreement I had with salary and labor was I'd get 1 in here so we get them up and trained before I have 2 walk out the door at the same time and be down to where I'm trying to cover this work with 4 employees.
Sure.
So at that point, that's where the agreement we had with the salary and labor. So as soon as I have those training wells at that point, it'd be down to 6 only.
How long you been looking?
Oh, I'm trying to think. It was February of 22 when the one employee left. So
So you've been without that employee for quite some time.
for a little over a year,
Mhm.
year and 4 months, whatever.
And you did say the application is on the website.
Not currently, it's not posted on the website because we're trying to go back through and wait for the kids to get back to school and then get it out all on the school's sites as far as job postings on all their sites, and then put it up on our site too, so we have it all listed everywhere at once. Because we got to open it up where it's not just an open listing. It's open for 2 to 4 weeks, and it's saying get your application in this time frame, and then we go forward from there. And not just have an open listing up there, just taking applications constantly in.
Are there certain colleges that kick out civil engineers? Is that what it would be?
Go with civil engineers, and then we also look for technicians, which are coming out of technical schools that have good programs that would see what we need them to do.
Do you go outside of Illinois?
We go outside Illinois for engineers, yes. For the technicians we have, we in fact made a visit last was it April, I think, or March, over to Morrison Institute of Technology over in Morrison, Illinois. And they have a very good civil engineer technician program over there. And we went over there to visit with supposedly, hopefully, the kids that were graduating that year and everyone that was coming through that day weren't kids that were graduating that year from the program. It was freshmen who just got there. So I have 10 different resumes of people that would graduate this year. So hopefully we'll put it back on their site. Hopefully we'll get some of them, because there is a couple kids from Ottawa that are attending Morrison over there. That stop and talk to us.
Get a better chance if they're from the area.
It sounds like maybe in May you need to be coordinating more with the colleges that they're just getting out, as opposed to in the beginning of the school year.
We want to do it at the beginning of school year because most of the kids now are at the universities are having job offers in October to graduate in May. In fact, my son, going to Michigan Tech, he has a job offer right now. Hasn't even started school yet in his fall semester yet. 1 year to go. He's already got one job offer already. So kids are getting grabbed early. So at that point, we gotta go out there and see if we can get someone to come here.
Okay. Did we end up with any applications from last year from reaching out?
From, like I said, I got 10 resumes from that Morrison today, whatever, but they were all freshmen. So at that point, hopefully when we post it on their job board over there, those 10 kids will see it and apply.
You're looking for a 4-year graduate, right?
I'm looking for either. I'm looking either for someone who graduated a civil engineering degree or someone's got a civil engineer technician program. Looking for either one, because the civil engineer technician program, they will come here with understanding of AutoCAD that we're using to do a lot of our design of our projects. So that's what we're looking for them to have that already, a good grasp of that as they come on board. Instead of bringing someone in that doesn't have that, and we spend 2 to 3 years training an individual, and they're going to come here. Well, I got all the skills now. I can leave. But employee already had the skills. They already chose this job. Anything else?
Anything else? Yeah, need a motion to adjourn? Bud? Bill? All in favor? Ken?
Aye.
Opposed?
How often do you get in the
Maybe do the,
last?
summer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go next week.